Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, Irini Mazisu, Pax Vobiscum, peace be unto you, and welcome back to the channel. I apologize, it's been a while since the last video, but I wanted to get my feet wet again and do a video on this topic regarding the size of water jugs in the scriptures. So this is an article from Farrell Jenkins' blog, his travel blog, and it's entitled The 6 Water Jugs at Cana of Galilee from February 21st, 2020. A friend recently sent me a small photo and a few questions about the water jugs at Cana of Galilee, mentioned in John chapter 2. Attached is a photo of a reproduction of what I suppose is a wine jug. It is about 30 inches tall and 20 inches handle tip to tip. I bought it a couple of months ago at an estate sale. The seller told us, tongue-in-cheek, that it may be the very one from which Jesus turned water into wine. I told him that, in spite of how old I might look, and the fact that I had not attended the wedding, I could assure him it was not the same one. Is this like the jugs that held water at Cana of Galilee? My questions for you, Farrell, are, is this a similar appearance and size of those of the first century? Is this type of jug sold in Israel as a souvenir? I paid $30 for the jug and, of course, had no shipping. Did I get a bargain? I'm going to use it as a feature in my garden. The gospel text says, "Now there were 6 stone water jars there for the Jewish rites of purification." I think that's the mikveh. Each holding 20 or 30 gallons. The fact that the text says each jug would hold between 20 and 30 gallons indicate a larger jar than the one my friend bought. I have visited many museums, large and small, in Israel, as well as numerous antiquities shops, and do not recall seeing a jug like the one she bought. Fortunately, some of the jugs of the type mentioned in John... Okay, what's going on there? Some of the jugs of the type mentioned in John chapter 2 have been found in Jerusalem, Qumran, and other places. Notice the photo below from the Israel Museum. These are the jugs found in what we now call the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem. Replicas are displayed in the Wool Archaeological Museum at the place called the Herodian Mansion, where they are found, or where they were found. These stone jars, along with stone tables, now displayed in the Israel Museum, come from the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem from the Herodian period. Photo by Farrell Jenkins. A replica of one of these jars is displayed in the Hecht Museum at the University of Haifa. The sign explains the purpose of the jars and the way they were made. Stone jar of the Kalal type replica. Jerusalem, the Jewish quarter. The Kalal, Tosefta Para 3-4, a large stone jar in the shape of a goblet, was used for storing the ashes of a red heifer and pure water, which mixture was used to cleanse the person of defilement caused by contact with a dead body. There is debate over the method used to produce these large jars. Some say they were made on a massive, technologically advanced lathe, while others contend that they were produced entirely by hand, the block of raw material placed on a stone wheel, like the potter's wheel, and shaped with mallet, chisel, and gouge. This sign explains the type of jars we are showing here. The Hecht Museum is a great teaching museum. In the model house shown below, you will see several of the stone jars used for the water of purification. This model reminds me a bit of the burnt house in the Jewish quarter of Jerusalem. So try to spot the stone jars. I see some here. And yeah, maybe that one. that one, and maybe that's a jar, I'm not sure. But definitely these. Model house from 1st century displayed at Hecht Museum. The third question should have been asked prior to purchase. I have dealt with this question many times during my tours. Individuals come to me and say, he is asking money for this item, or a specific amount of money. Is that a good price? I learned to say to tour members prior to visiting the first few shops that I will not be able to answer that question in the shop. If they purchased and then asked me if they got a good deal, here is how I answered. If you like it and can afford it and are happy with it, then you got a good deal. One other point should be made. The type of jar used for shipping and storing wine is known as an amphora. Imported jars such as this were also excavated in the Jewish quarter. An amphora from the Hellenistic period. Let's try that again. An amphora from the Hellenistic period displayed at the Hecht Museum, University of Haifa, Israel. The pointed bottoms were placed in sand to hold them erect for filling and transportation. Many pictures and drawings of amphora can be found here. Addendum. Leon Malden sent the photo below showing the author standing beside the model and a replica of one of the water jars. Okay, so that's a replica. So that does not look like it holds too many gallons. So that's it. So that's a replica. But if we look at, okay, so that's a replica. It's supposed to hold how many gallons? Let's just review that. It says 30 inches tall, 20 inches handle. Okay, then no, that's the reproduction, the wine jug. And it says, in terms of the narrative, all right, 20 or 30 gallons. Okay, let's look up. I need to look up 20 gallons. How many? In a liter. Okay, I need to convert that. So 20 gallons, if you convert that, that's 75 liters. I don't think 75 liters are going to fit in, actually, you know what? It might. Depends on the size of the jar. So it has to be a jar at least, I would say, waist height. It's not going to... 75 gallons, or I should say 75 liters, will not fit in that. That looks to me like at least 5 liters. Something like 5, at the most 10. So you're looking at a jug that's going to be at least double the width, and at least, I'm going to say maybe even double the height. So if this is 10 to 20 liters, 5 to 10, you're looking at 75. So that's going to be another 20, 30, 40. So let's say it's 4 times as wide, so it'd be 40, and then a little bit higher, that would be 75. So about waist height, but a lot wider than this. Okay, so that's an interesting study, just to get a feel of, the real world, how this would look like in the real world. It would be a lot larger than these cisterns, these jars, these replicas. Okay, so I hope that puts it into perspective. There were mentions of these jugs in one of the chapters in First Kings, or I should say third book of the Kingdoms, which we're wrapping up, and I apologize for that. I'm supposed to do the summary video that's pending, that's incoming, that should be uploaded in the next week or so. So thank you for your time. Once again, I hope this video was helpful to you to explain these 6 water jugs at Cana of Galilee, and not only those jugs, but even the jugs mentioned in the book of Kings, first book of Kings, to be specific. Okay, Shalom Aleichem, Salamu Alaikum, Irini Mazisu, Pax Obiscum, Maranatha. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video.